Hi, it's Crystal Woodbridge, Nature Inspired Relationship Coach, and I just wanted to come out and make a quick video for you. And it's quick because what I want to talk about with you is such a big, a broad subject that I couldn't really cover. I'd be here all day trying to cover everything that I wanted to say about it. But it's on the subject of patterns and getting stuck in certain cycles in your relationship, because it's something that somebody's asked me about recently, and I thought it might be a really good idea to maybe talk about this with you and just see what you think about it. So I just had a question for you really. Do you feel like you and your partner sometimes get stuck having the same argument over and over again? Or do you feel like you get stuck in the same cycles and patterns in your relationship, you're not sure why, and you feel like the same problems and the same issues come up time and time again? So that's within your current relationship. And then have you also found that you have the same patterns in other relationships that you've been in as well? So it might be that you might have the same arguments over and over again in this current relationship that you're in, but have you had the same arguments in your previous relationships too, or similar issues that have come up? So for example, do you find that you've always ended up in relationships where trust has been an issue, or where you tend to argue about finances a lot in your relationships, or it could literally be anything, but just something that comes up time and time again? And I just want to think about this in terms of a cycle, because I think it's really helpful, because there are so many examples in nature of cycles. And in nature you have cycles, whether you think about the seasons, so you have spring, summer, autumn and winter as a really good example, or you have night and day. And if you think about it, the thing that nature loves is for cycles to be completed, because you can't have summer without the spring, and you can't have night without the day. So every part of that cycle is dependent on the part before it. So the thing about incomplete cycles is, if you're doing something in your relationship or relationships where you feel like you can't get past a certain point because the same issues keep coming up again and again, you can actually feel really emotionally unhealthy in a way, because what happens is you get stuck at that point in the cycle and you can't move forward. And so what happens is that there is a stuckness and you feel like there's unfinished business. So you'll go from relationship to relationship repeating this cycle of unfinished business, because whatever you keep getting stuck on hasn't been resolved in the past. And in your current relationship, you'll find you're having the same arguments over and over again, because you never managed to resolve the issue that's underlying in the first place. It will just keep coming up in different ways or the same way, and you'll find you have the same arguments, the same issues over and over again. It can be really frustrating for both of you, and it can feel like you don't know how to resolve it. So the way to think about starting to tackle this, now it's, everybody's individual, everybody has different patterns, different cycles, and they're all linked to different reasons. So, it's impossible to cover everybody all in one go. So the way to work on it for yourself is to really look inwards and think about yourself and think, what are your relationship patterns? So the first thing is identifying what the patterns are. So what are the things that you and your partner tend to argue about a lot? Or what are the things that you have tended to argue about a lot in your past relationships? And start to think about, when did you first notice having these patterns? So if it's within this relationship, when was the first time this came up? Or if it's linked to all of your relationships, when was the first time you ever started to feel whatever the feeling is, or having the issues that you are having? So think about what feeling this the actual argument or the issue that you're having, think about how it makes you feel, and think about, when was the first time you ever remember feeling that way very strongly that you can remember. Now it might go way beyond your relationships, it might go all the way back to childhood. And so if there's unfinished business from your childhood that keeps coming up in your relationships, that will give you a clue as to where it comes from and what the unfinished business is in the first place. And so that will give you the idea of what is left unresolved for you. And just, you need to be really honest with yourself with it. So for me, I'm happy to share with you, more than happy to share with you one of the places I used to get stuck. Just one of the ways I used to get stuck in relationships is, I always thought I was kind of raised to be very dependable, very reliable, and that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Now, that value is really important for me. It's really important for me to be reliable, because I believe it makes me trustworthy, and that's really important in all relationships and with my clients. So that's something I hold very dear. The problem with never changing that I had in the past, with never changing my mind and always being absolutely adamant that I'd said I was going to do something, so I was going to do it. Sometimes I do it to my own detriment, and that I didn't believe it was okay to change my mind. And so the way that played out in relationships was that I would get stuck in relationships where they were unsatisfactory, and actually I felt like I was putting up with a lot of things that I shouldn't have been putting up with, in terms of respect and having my boundaries breached, because I just thought, well, this is the way things are going to be. I'm in this relationship now, it's not satisfactory, but I just need to power through it because I can't change my mind. And that was really unhealthy. And I thankfully woke up to that one day and realised actually being reliable doesn't have to be at the expense of myself or my health or the relationship, and it doesn't mean I don't have permission to change my mind. And because in nature I've realised things change all the time. You can still be reliable and rooted and grounded in your relationship, absolutely, but you need to transform at the same time and grow, because you are changing every day. Everything in nature changes all the time. It's what nature does, it's what we do, we evolve, we've always done it. So that's just one example. So I had to be really honest with myself and had to really soul search, and it meant ending a relationship where, I'd been in a long-term relationship, but it meant ending a relationship, and it was really difficult to do, but I knew it was the right thing. So that's just one example. So I'm not suggesting that, you need to end a relationship if you find that you're repeating patterns. What I'm saying is you need to think about what is coming up for you, what are the issues, and think about how you and your partner can resolve the issue. And you need to be honest with yourself and look inward in the first place. So I just have some questions for you. So think about, if you're not sure where you become stuck in your relationship, try and focus on what it is that you would like in your relationship as well. So try and think about, if you weren't stuck, what would you be doing instead? If you weren't experiencing these arguments in your relationship or these particular issues that keep coming up and again, where would you be focusing your energy and attention instead? And hopefully that will give you the motivation to want to try and change this. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I'd love to know if you find that you become stuck in your relationship and what sorts of issues you and your partner have, and have you overcome that stuckness, and if so, how you've done it. If you'd like to know more about how I help couples overcome stuckness in their relationships, I would absolutely love to share that with you. I'm going to be doing a lot more content on this over the next few days because I think it's really important. In the meantime, if you want to know how to start to communicate issues with your partner in a more constructive and compassionate way, I'd love to help you. So come to my website, which is www.crystalwoodbridge.com. That's KRYSTAL woodbridge.com, and from there you can sign up for my newsletter, which is always packed full of helpful relationship advice and tips every month. And you can also subscribe to my blog, which is also on my website, and I produce daily content over there on my blog as well, which is again full of completely free content to help you in your relationship and help you and your partner to reconnect with nature and learn lessons from nature to guide you as to how to have a healthy and fulfilling and harmonious and balanced relationship. You can also download my completely free communication guide for couples, which will teach you the key principles and skills that you need to be able to communicate effectively in your relationship. And also, this is really exciting news, really soon I'm about to launch my Compassionate Conflict for Couples e-course, which is a completely online training which you can do in the comfort of your own home, and it will give you the exact in-depth skills and tools that you need to be able to resolve conflict in your relationship compassionately. And it deals with helping you identify your relationship stuckness, your relationship patterns, and how you then actually can take the steps to start to resolve those issues. So if you'd like to know more, personal message me, contact me through my Facebook page. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, take care for now, and just remember, always maintain and attend to your relationship to watch it thrive. Bye for now.